through the best and worst of workdays and sustain the belief that you will get through. What sets this book apart is the theoretical interpretation of clinical nurses' powerful stories about their caregiving experiences in the pandemic frontlines, the impact on their well-being, and what practices sustain them. We can learn these lessons and integrate these proven practices into our self-care plan going forward. In this landmark book, Gaffney and Foster use storytelling as a way to present the meaning nurses assign to their experiences, grief, and journeys of personal healing. Storytelling has the capacity to unite nurses worldwide because they may recognize themselves in these stories. Nurses can develop a plan that incorporates self-care practices that have sustained others' well-being. The commonality of the compelling stories provides an entry point for nurses who feel alone and maybe guilt. It encourages nurses to recognize their common humanity and feel less alienated in these troubled times. Drawing on scientific literature, the wisdom from some of the world's leading researchers, nurses' stories, and professional expertise, Gaffney and Foster present a series of chapters to foster personal understanding, self-compassion, and self-care practices to sustain well-being. They use Carol Riff's model of psychological well-being as the conceptual framework for the book. In this book, Gaffney and Foster provide critical information to help you explore who you are, self-awareness and insight, to understand and acknowledge what you carry, baggage, struggle, bias, into your relationships and work. What is self-compassionate self-talk, and why it is essential to your well-being? Proven resources to manage stress, sleep, nutrition, and movement. How to deliberately fit restorative practices into busy work schedules. Intentional practices help maintain emotional and physical balance in difficult circumstances. How to manage moral adversity and heal moral pain and emotional distress. When counseling services could be helpful, and steps to take. The authors explain insights, well-being practices, and supportive routines that have worked for nurses in difficult and disruptive times. You may find ideas in this book to help you devise a flexible plan to sustain you through the best and worst of days, and nurture hope for your future. This journey of discovery and learning takes you through the basics, such as nutrition, sleep, exercise, social connections, and mental health. The first step is self-awareness. You are in the best position to customize your well-being plan by choosing practices that could support you in a crisis and on better days. Caring for yourself is more than mindfulness, nutrition, sleep, exercise, debriefing, and solitude. Acting in creative and curious ways can boost your sense of well-being, gratitude, and peace. But it becomes more difficult to follow your well-being plan when feeling depleted. Thus, it is important to plan how you will keep going during tough times, which is vital to your well-being and career success. Professor Kristen Neff reminds us that self-compassion, treating yourself as you would treat a friend who is having a hard time, means having sensitivity toward your own suffering, along with a deep wish to alleviate that suffering. Self-compassion requires us to acknowledge we are suffering, mindfulness, that we are all in this together, common humanity, and that we